You're probably afraid of the wrong snakes. Across the North American continent, venomous snakes cause over 10,000 serious bites every year. The copperhead alone causes nearly 3,000 of them. And in modern history, the western diamondback has the most confirmed kills. But the real snake bites to worry about are much rarer and found in some of the most remote wilderness across our continent. From giant vipers lurking in the far reaches of dense forests, to marine reptiles that can take your breath away for good. Today we're looking at the 10 worst snakes to be bitten by on the North American continent. Number 10 starts right in my backyard, the southeastern US. Slithering through the sandy soil of Florida, Georgia, and nearby states is a bright, banded little snake. One of my personal favorites, the eastern coral snake. Most people never see one, not because they're rare, but because they spend most of their life hunting underground, and what they hunt is other snakes. The coral snake carries a neurotoxic venom built to shut down a nervous system fast. It burrows through loose soil, flicks its tongue to track down prey, and uses short, fixed fangs to punch through tough reptile scales before pumping in that venom, gram for gram. Current research says it's the most toxic terrestrial elapid in the entire Western Hemisphere. But potency isn't even the scariest part. Their bite barely hurts. Most people don't realize they've been bitten until hours later, when neurological symptoms start creeping in. The venom blocks your nerve signals, so you slowly lose control of your own muscles, and death comes from respiratory failure, as your diaphragm just stops working. Because bites are so uncommon, anti-venom is scarce. Some sources aren't even sure it's still being made. And as terrifying as that sounds, the coral snake is the mildest snake on this entire list. It only gets worse from here. Number 9 takes us down the Pacific coast of Mexico, to one of the best-looking vipers on the continent, the cantil. Barely anyone outside Mexico even knows these exist. You've heard of copperheads and cottonmouths, right? Cantils are basically their cousins. Same genus, different attitude. There are a few species, but the Mexican cantil is generally considered the nastiest, dark brown, sometimes reddish, with a banded pattern that blends into the forest floor. Normally, we don't think of moccasins as especially dangerous. In the US, copperheads and cottonmouths cause the majority of bites, but people rarely die from them. Their hemotoxic venom mostly stays local to the limb. Cantils break that pattern completely. Throughout their range, they're feared more than some lancehead vipers, and adults have died within hours of being bitten, even by small individuals. Cantils live closer to the equator, in wildly biodiverse extreme terrain, which might explain why their venom kills faster, more competition, less room for a slow kill. The result is a bite that can send your body into multi-organ failure as venom tears through your cells. Number 8 is one of my genuine favorites, the timber rattlesnake. It has one of the widest ranges of any rattlesnake in the country, and it's also one of the biggest, heavy-bodied snakes found everywhere from coastal lowlands, where they're sometimes called canebrake rattlesnakes, to gorgeous golden or charcoal mountain populations. Like most pit vipers, their venom is hemotoxic, perfect for taking down mid-sized mammals, but some populations even carry mild neurotoxins on top. So if one bites you, you're in for a rough time, searing pain that spreads systemically fast, and death usually comes down to kidney failure or full organ shutdown. Here's the twist though, timber rattlesnakes are actually really reluctant to bite. They're some of the chillest, most docile rattlesnakes I've ever worked with, but because they're spread across such a massive range, bites still happen fairly often. And even though their venom isn't the most toxic on this list, what makes their bite so dangerous is sheer volume. These snakes have huge venom glands. A lot of the time, how much venom you get matters more than how toxic it is. There are spiders and insects 5 to 10 times more toxic by weight than this snake. But nobody's dying from those bites. People die from timber rattlesnake bites. Number 7 is also a rattlesnake, and it won't be the last one on this list. The genus Crotalus is incredibly diverse across North America, and a lot of its members carry seriously nasty venom. Down in Southern California, through Baja, and into Mexico, you'll find the Southern Pacific rattlesnake. Some call it its own species, others a subspecies of the Western rattlesnake. Whatever you call it, it's genuinely scary. We've already confirmed multiple deaths from this snake this year alone, and snakebite deaths in the US are rare, so when a snake is actually killing people, pay attention. Research is still ongoing, but this might be among the most venomous snakes by weight in the entire hemisphere. Its venom combines both hemotoxic and neurotoxic compounds, destroying your tissue and shutting down your nervous system at once, which makes treatment genuinely tricky. What makes it even more dangerous is that standard antivenom is less effective against it than other North American vipers. The stuff that works great on cottonmouths, copperheads, and most rattlesnakes usually needs much higher doses here, and nobody's totally sure why. Unlike the coral snake, people run into these guys constantly. They're one of the most common snakes in Southern California, so bites happen a lot. Number 6 takes us further south into Central America, the fer-de-lance. This species is more famous in South America, where it's the deadliest snake in the hemisphere, but it kills people in North America too, just in less populated regions, so it doesn't rack up as many confirmed deaths as the western diamondback. Still, it's an extremely serious bite. Lancehead vipers in general have what's basically an upgraded version of rattlesnake venom, hemotoxic but far more powerful. Here's a fun fact. Opossums are pretty resistant to pit viper venom. One bitten by a cottonmouth or copperhead can often just walk it off, but they're not immune to lancehead venom at all, and researchers think that's actually why it's so potent. An evolutionary arms race with possums as prey, forcing the venom strong enough to overpower that natural resistance. Bad news for them means bad news for us too. Get bitten by a fer-de-lance and you'll start bleeding internally, while the tissue around the wound dies fast. Even with quick treatment, losing the limb is a real possibility. In parts of Mexico, this is the leading cause of snakebite death, period. Number 5 might make you think there's nowhere safe from venomous snakes, and honestly, you'd be right. This one isn't even usually found on land. Along the Pacific coast, in the open ocean, lives a strange-looking sea snake. It's rarely seen on land, and when it is, that usually means it washed up and can barely move. Good news for us, once stranded, they're basically helpless. But in the water, competing with moray eels, barracuda, and sharks for food, this snake needed an edge, so it went all in on venom potency. It's one of the most toxic snakes in the world by weight, packing neurotoxins and cytotoxins that overwhelm prey almost instantly. People underestimate it. It's docile out of water and rarely bites humans. But that bite is brutal. The myotoxic components cause horrific muscle spasms and can trigger rhabdomyolysis, your muscles breaking down and clogging your organs. The neurotoxins work slowly, so you're in serious pain for hours before paralysis finally shuts your nervous system down for good. Number 4 might surprise you because you probably didn't know it lives in North America at all. Deep in the rainforests of Panama and Costa Rica live the bushmasters, and this is the very northern edge of their range. They're much better known from places like the Amazon. Bushmasters are the largest vipers on Earth. They make a typical rattlesnake look like a garden worm. Fun fact, their genus is named Lachesis, after one of the 3 fates in Greek mythology. So you're hiking through the rainforest and you meet your fate. Here's the strange part. Ounce for ounce, Bushmaster venom isn't actually that toxic as far as vipers go. The problem is volume. They deliver a massive amount in a single bite. Only one other snake in the hemisphere even comes close to their venom yield, and they also have some of the longest fangs around, driving that venom deep into tissue. Bites cause systemic effects fast, including internal hemorrhaging as blood leaks into your body cavity, and with specimens recorded over 10 feet long and a massive strike range, there's nowhere safe to stand once you've spotted one. That's basically the peak of venomous snakes in this hemisphere. Number 3. Remember the snake that beats the Bushmaster on venom yield? Here it is, the eastern diamondback rattlesnake, the largest rattlesnake species on the planet. Found across the southeastern US, especially longleaf pine forests, with record lengths pushing 8 feet. Like the timber rattlesnake, it's heavy-bodied and sits toward the more toxic end of the rattlesnake spectrum, but without any neurotoxic component. Because it's so massive, it's hunting bigger mammals, which means it needs a hemotoxin built to work systemically. Just look at the size of its head. That alone tells you how much venom it's packing. A single adult bite carries enough venom to kill 10 people my size, and combined with the longest fangs of any rattlesnake, it drives that venom deep, just like the Bushmaster. Honestly though, the scariest thing about this snake isn't its bite, it's that it's disappearing, along with its habitat, the longleaf pine forest, one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on the planet, right up there with tropical rainforests. So while this snake's bite is genuinely dangerous, spotting one in the wild means you're standing somewhere special. Number 2 brings us to the southwestern US and north-central Mexico, the Mojave rattlesnake. Like the eastern diamondback, it has a diamond pattern down its back, but the easiest way to identify it is the oversized scales above its eyes, almost like it's wearing goggles. Many populations have a greenish tint, earning the nickname the Mojave Green. It's often called the most dangerous rattlesnake bite in the world, and some even call it the most venomous rattlesnake period, though that title actually belongs to the tiger rattlesnake. Still, the Mojave is among the most toxic snakes in the hemisphere thanks to a 1-2 punch of hemotoxic and neurotoxic venom. I used to think the neurotoxic effect was unique to this species, but it turns out the common ancestor of all rattlesnakes had venom like this. Most modern species lost the neurotoxin over time as they moved on to smaller, weaker prey. The Mojave kept it because it hunts kangaroo rats in open desert grassland, and those things are fast, so it needs venom that kills quicker than the prey can escape. For us, that means a Mojave bite hits with a whole range of problems at once, similar to the southern Pacific rattlesnake. Seriously dangerous, but still not the worst on this continent. That title goes to number 1, the Central American rattlesnake, found from southern Mexico down through Costa Rica, and one of the largest rattlesnakes alive. In southern Mexico, this species rivals the fer-de-lance in confirmed human deaths. And because it lives in remote wilderness, getting to a hospital after a bite is genuinely difficult. Basically imagine getting bitten by a much more toxic bushmaster. Here's what's fascinating. Its venom changes over its lifetime. There's a myth in the US that baby venomous snakes are more dangerous because they can't control their venom output. That's false. Snakes are born with full muscular control over their venom glands. But in a handful of unusual species, juvenile venom really is more potent than adult venom, and this is one of them. We think it comes down to diet. Young snakes are too small for mammals, so they're feeding on lizards, small snakes, and frogs instead. Prey a more neurotoxic venom handles better. As they grow large enough for mammals, their venom shifts toward the hemotoxic side. An adult bite is excruciating, and because the snake is so large with such a high venom yield, it causes brutal hemotoxic damage. But the initial bite is only half the danger. Recovery can be a long, uncertain road, with secondary infections and septic shock capable of killing you weeks after leaving the hospital. It's an absolute force of nature, and it earns its spot as the worst snakebite on the continent. It's honestly wild that so many of these snakes evolved venom powerful enough to kill animals far bigger than themselves, including us. But that venom is a product of the environment each species calls home, a tool for taking down prey, not a weapon meant for humans. Whether it's the coral snake, the Central American rattlesnake, or a harmless rat snake in your backyard, if you're not messing with it, there's basically no reason for it to ever bite you. These are quiet creatures trying to survive, playing a massive role in ecosystems across the continent. But just like extreme environments push these species toward powerful venom, there are other snakes out there hiding some surprisingly toxic secrets of their own. What if I told you there's a venomous snake in the US, one you've probably never heard of, with venom similar to a brown recluse spider? It's not an elapid like the coral snake, or a viper like the rattlesnakes here. Rarely ever seen, and honestly, one of the strangest, coolest reptiles on Earth. Until next time, get outside and find your own adventure.